Games have been an everlasting part of my life. From the early days of playing the SNES in my pajamas to my current day passion of card games. Few things inspire me more than their ability to bring people together to experience friendship, frustration, laughter, loss, and the glory of victory. The peaks of these emotions and experience achieved under the pressure of competition, where we will put everything on the table. 4 years ago, I found my way to Magic the Gathering, the grandfather of trading card games. There, I rediscovered my flame for competition I had once lost due to a career-ending injury. This is where I found my place as a tournament grinder, traveling and competing to build a name for myself among legends. From there, my journey through many TCGs, from Hearthstone to Pokemon, have taken me to locals, regionals, and in Dragonball's case, nationals. To date, none have captured me more than the high-octane, minute decision-making game that is the DBS CCG. This in mind, I have cemented my determination to going a step further, stepping beyond grinder and reaching the pinnacle. As champion. My name's George Moniz, but please, call me a spirit. And this is Snake Way, Road to Worlds. Alright, no need to tell me, I'll be the first one to say that intro was a little extra. But I figured, hey, it's episode 1, why not? So what is Snake Way? So let's go talk about it. Alright, so Snake Way is gonna be a type of vlog / documentary series that follows me through my path to Worlds. It's actually inspired by a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh content. I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh player by any means, but if you go onto the Yu-Gi-Tube and look up Nim Nim Sealed Only Challenge or Puggers Returning to Yu-Gi-Oh, all of them have this really deep, rich content to it. They touch on the community, they touch on new and different ways to play, and I really want to bring that to the DBS community. So my goal is to bring this higher quality content that not only follows what a player's path to the competitive scene and eventually Worlds will be, but also to highlight the best parts of the community, different players, and kind of take you along with me on this journey to really see how far we can get. So for the uninitiated, the Dragonball Super CCG is very similar to things like Magic the Gathering, and the gameplay is similar to Yu-Gi-Oh in that you have a lot of cards that combo into other things and there's a lot of different chains. I'm not going to go deep into it, but I will be linking videos in the comments down below that'll explain to you how the game is played if you are a new player or if you don't know about Dragon Ball at all and you kind of want to keep in the loop of what's happening on throughout the series. So the path to Worlds is really straightforward. We're going to start off by playing it up at locals, going to the store championship. If we score a victory at the store championship, we get ourselves a first round bye for regionals. From regionals, if we make the top 25%, we make our way over to nationals. Myself being a North American player, hailing from Canada, I go to the North American Nationals. From there, it's not 100% clear what it's going to take to make it to Worlds. All we know is that Worlds is happening in 2020. So what I have to do is place as well as I can in Nationals to guarantee myself a spot over at Worlds. From there, hopefully take it down and become the world champion. Now I know this is a lofty goal and nothing's guaranteed, but I'm hoping that you'll follow me along in this journey through the pains and tribulations I go through to try and make myself get all the way to the top there. And I look forward to highlighting all the different things I'm going to go through and going through this journey with you. So the way this series is going to break down is into about 3 seasons. First one being Road to Regionals, and that's going to track my path through locals, the store championship, and the 3 regionals I can attend to see if we can get ourselves over to nationals. The 3 regionals being Virginia, New Jersey, and potentially Niagara. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but we Canadian players have a vibe that there's still going to be one in Niagara this year. From there, it's Road to Nationals. Nationals specifically being how I get ready for what will probably be the meta over there. I'm going to be practicing with a bunch of different teams to try and get a vibe. We have a number of teams over in Montreal. I'm really close with the Stage 0 guys, so I'm going to be practicing with them. That'll lead over to Road to Worlds. And Road to Worlds will be very similar to Road to Nationals in that we're trying to figure out what the meta is going to be, and we're going to be doing a lot of practicing. And within that, just so the content doesn't get monotonous, we're going to be touching base on the community. I really like this to not only follow my journey over to Worlds, but I'd like us to keep track with what's going on in the community, what other players are making their journeys, and any highlights we get during the week. And that's going to be the gist of it. It's going to be you guys following me and me hopefully highlighting the rest of the community on our way to the end of the competitive season this year. So with that said, what's first? Well, I actually had my store championship over a couple of weeks ago before the Christmas break started. And I'm not going to tell you the results right away. We'll see how that goes. So first, let's go over the deck list and then we'll get into the games.
All right, so unsurprising to anyone who's been keeping up with me for this this new set, I've been running Baby, the starter deck Baby with the whole engine right here. And not too surprising, it's one of the best decks in the format right now. I really like how it's not so much, people say it's an aggro deck, don't have the right idea. It plays aggressively, but it's a combo deck at heart. You're looking for your pieces and you're really trying to get your whole, get your opponent to like minus 10k, minus 15k, swing with that, get in your 5-drop Goku, hopefully with the pan, and then get more swings with that. And because your opponent's leader should be at like 5k or 0 unawakened because of the 7-drop Great Ape, then we can also swing in with Dr. Muse and Babies. I've actually found that that's a lot of ways I end up finishing games, is just by diminishing my opponent's resources down and up to the point where a little kill from a 1-drop is able to get there. Also, as of note, there are probably a few cards that are off. This is the list I made off of memory, but I'm fairly certain last second I might have made a change or two to the deck as I was going to the tables. So if we notice that in the recordings, I'll be sure to make an editor's note. But let's just go through the deck. So first off the bat, we can see the Dr. Mew and Baby Evil Origins. Busted, one of the most busted combos in the game. You get the battle card for free with Dr. Mew if you charge a multicolor. That's not only big because it gets you your graceful charity play, but it's also huge because it's a free body on your kill turn if you manage to dig into it. While yeah, you are a go tall deck, you do have the ability to go wide decently with the fact that you're essentially getting 2 bodies for the cost of 0. They don't have great base attack, but if you're able to stack up your hand the right way, which this deck usually does, you're able to get in there if need be. 2 Blitz Wave generators. I've been shuffling around between having 2 and 3. Not finding your baby pieces is actually soul crushing. And in future revisions, I'm probably going to put 3. Because at worst, it's a yellow charge. The deck needs more yellow charges than it needs red charges if you're not going to charge multicolor. So it's just better off of getting rid of that than getting rid of something else. 1 Time Magic. I like the access to Time Magic because like my locals has a High Mastery player, and I do feel like there's some utility in saying, dual attacking cards, no. Nimbus, that's for the mirror. It just shuts down their turn for the most part. You'll see we have Topo, but Topo isn't always a guaranteed stop. I've actually won games through Topo just because my hand advantage on my kill turn was so big. Flying Nimbus is a no button. We have a couple more in the side in case we do face the mirror. And it's just there as a safety valve. For Weasel spectators, we're playing a multicolor deck. No reason not to run the anti-energy exhaust card. No real explanation there. Fun fact, he does negate a battle card skill. So if there's ever a blocker in the way and you have 2 floating energy, which isn't impossible, you can actually just Weasel and stop that from happening. It's niche, it's not super relevant, but hey, it's there, and it's an ability on a card you'd be running 4 of anyway, so why not? 4 Full Surveillance Jacko. I run this super combo because I have the event pack ones. Otherwise, everyone's running Shu. I guess I'd be running that. 1 Swift Retaliation Cooler in the main. After the store championship, I bumped it up to 2. A lot of players are starting to understand that if you shut down like the card you're going to tribute for SS4, or if you just like Mafuba SS4, it essentially kills the turn. So I think it's really important to have that there. Bad Ring Laser is a good card. This is just a way more expensive Bad Ring Laser. Mind you, be careful when you play this deck that there are 3 yellow specified costs. So it is intensive. You really have to set yourself up to use it. At worst, it's a charge. 3 Pans. She restands our Goku when we go for that play. If we need to, she also restands our 7-drop grade 8, our Beerus if we need to. 2 Champas. I like having a few options if I can't get my combo off. Champa right now is still in the deck. I don't know if I'm going to keep him there. The meta is not really great for Champa. There are times when you hold up energy. Like when you break, it's a great thing to have just because, you know, you're probably not going to die. But there just hasn't been that many things where I feel that Champa helps out a ton. So we'll see how the meta shapes up in the coming month now that the regional season's about to get off the way. But it's an interesting tech that I've been enjoying. We'll see if he stays though. With the potential of Surge Piccolo and Gogeta shenanigans coming in, probably decent tech, so we'll see how it goes. 2 Bardock's the Awakened Threat, free attacker, draws you more cards. I went to a 1k last month and he dug me into my combo after my opponent preemptive striked my first one. Just a good card all around, no reason not to run it. 3 Topos, I don't know if I need 4. But every time you play Topo, you're essentially time walking your opponent. You're saying, okay, your turn's done. Very few people actually go to punch through it, and if they do, they're punishing themselves by 2 cards every single time. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Right now he's at 3. Would I run 4? Probably, we'd have to see. I'd also have to buy the 4th. So come through the rest of the month, we'll make that decision. 4 Super Baby Once, he's what's getting off our combo. We need to see him. Without him, none of this really happens in an efficient time manner. 1 Graded Bardock. I opened it from a draft box a while back and I was like, why not? Because currently I only have 1 Beerus. So I figured, what's like something similar? Something that I can play defensively to try and kill one of their turns. It gives me some advantage and an extra attacker on board. In future renditions of the deck, I'm fairly certain I just get rid of him because he's kind of clunky in this kind of deck where you're so energy efficient for the first 3 turns. Super Baby 1, Parasitic Menace, goes up the chain. For free, we get into a 5-drop. He's a 25k. If we don't have all the pieces to get into the 7-drop, having just the 5-drop is enough to get us into our SS4. And he's a double striker. So while it's not the most optimal play, it's not the worst, which makes it, you know, really flexible. Also gets rid of annoying 5ks that are on the board, which is surprisingly relevant enough. You know, people tend to play Black Mass Saiyan against us, and this gets rid of it so that we can go into our plays more. 1 Beerus. Beerus is insane when you have a clunky hand. For most decks, he pretty much says, I'm not going to die. Be careful if you play against Vanilla Ku. He does not pop Vanilla cards once they start comboing with the 4-star balls. Just something to be mindful of. SS4. I run 3. I think at 4 I see him way too often. Yes, you want to see him when your kill turn, but I feel like the deck has been digging enough for me that 3 has been sufficient. I lean a bit more mid-range than I do combo, so I'm okay with not seeing him in my opening hand, or if I have to stall out my kill turn by 1 turn, because with the Topos, with the Nimbus, with the Time Magic, and just the fact that my hand will be decently large for what I need it to be, it'll be okay. 3 of the Apocalypse Grudge Great Ape. That's just an option if we don't want to go into the 7-drop. Against some decks, it's better to push the aggro on turn 2 with that Great Ape as opposed to waiting for turn 3 where we get off the 7-drop. Because if we play as efficiently as possible, we have 1 red left on turn 2 to be able to get this play off. So against Beerus, it's great because you want to force his Awaken as quickly as possible, because then he's going to lose his card draw engine. And we actually win out the long game against Beerus if he awakens too early. So that's good to know. And then finally, we have 3 of the 7-drop. One of my favorite cards, just because for me, this deck is way more. I love negging. I try to stay at a decently high life total early on, and then you just take 5 life, neg your opponent by minus 25k, and then you're just going in. And it is really tough to get out of that. And then obviously he's what we're typically trying to proc off. He's got Offering, and then SS4's got Offering, and essentially giving us a massive hand to just go in and kill. It's really tricky as to whether your opponent should be taking the life or taking the draw, because if they take the life, then awesome. That means my 1-drops are able to potentially get in there for game much more likely. If they're just going to let me draw cards, then awesome, I just have way more cards than you to work with. Finally, the sideboard. This is where I might be a little iffy on, but for the most part, I think it's accurate. We got 3 Black Mass Saiyans. It's for the mirror. It's for Hatchak. Essentially for anything that is really trying to cheat out stuff on the board, and we want them to stop that or slow down and punish those plays. We have Flying Nimbus at 2 of, again, if we want to see the mirror. Haru Haru. We have a couple of Broly players on my local, and I just figured it's a good card to get the aggro. This is super meta dependent. Like if green or yellow leaders are like super relevant, then yeah, it's a good card. But at the same time, you don't want too many black cards in the deck when you're trying to sideboard, because you are really tight on color specifications. So because the color specifications are so tight, it's tough to fit in. 2 TNs. You know, if our opponents tap out thinking they're safe and they're a blue leader, we're like, haha, nope. Now your Dimension Magics are not getting you any positive effects outside of just being a life negate. 2 of the Malicious Majesty Super Baby. That's because I really dislike Hatchak and we just need more options against him. A different tech you can do is the 4-drop that came out from the Magnificent Collection, I believe. So he also negates leader abilities. So you swing with your leader, you activate battle, negate Hatchak's ability, and then you just go in the rest of the game. Banish your Fu, Hatchak. And the SCR, Baby Janemba. There's probably better options there, but I have it. It's good against Hatchak. Why not? So generally, I believe this is what I took to the store championship. And let's see how we do. Let's jump over and get to the gameplay.
So our first round is against Randy. And Randy is a newer player. He's typically been playing black. He joined us about 2 sets ago, I believe. Previously, he was on Demigra, the Storm variant. Now he's on Hatchak. So Hatchak's really tough for us in the in game 1, but we can try to get there if we aggro enough with our leader. We win the die roll, which if you know me, is super unlikely. I'm not one of those players who tends to win die rolls. We open up 2 of the 5-drop babies, Nimbus, Topo, Evil Origins, and a Bloodswave. Here I decide to keep 1 of the 5-drops because obviously we need everything for our combo. Arguably, I probably should have kept the Bloodswave generator, but I really want to open my chances of getting a multicolor so that we can play the Mew that I hopefully get for free. So I mull everything else away except for the 5-drop, and I mull into 2 SS4s, another Topo, another Evil Origins, and a Champa. So obviously this is one of the breakier hands that the deck can have, and really won't lend itself to us trying to kill him off early before Hatchak can really get a lot of cards to play with. Once turn 5 comes around, he plays the 5-drop Demigra, and he swings in while we're at 3 life. Not wanting to have him see our hand and rip out a bunch of cards, knowing that there's just nothing we can do to out that, we just decide to concede and scoop him up. Going into the sideboard, obviously most of our sideboard is teched out for this deck, so we bring in Black Mass Saiyans, we take out the Bardocks to bring in Banisher Foos, we bring in the SCR, and we bring in the 5-drop Super Baby 2, so that we can negate the leader ability. So we open up into the 6-drop combo, where instead of going into the 7-drop 8, we go into the 6-drop 8 instead. So we go into the 6-drop, go into it. We end up playing Black Mass Saiyan on turn 1, which slows him down from being able to aggro me with his turtles. Ends up stealing it from me for my Toa, but that's fine. We go into Banisher Fu, and then we get a bunch of swings in. Banisher Fu being able to punish him if he ever tries to negate, or if he tries to use any of his skills. And here's where we get a good chunk of damage in. From there, we awaken, get rid of the 6-drop baby to get out SS4 and Pan. From here, we don't have any swings left, but we still got a bunch of cards from the offering, which is kind of what I was looking for. Also, Pen is a blocker, essentially meaning we won't just die to the SCR if he comes down again. Also, we have negates in hand that are able to protect us if it gets there. Without many cards in his own hand, while trying to defend from the Banisher Fu, he makes a couple of plays to draw a couple of cards, and then he passes. Being able to hold off, we now go into and close with the leader, comboing out our hand. Finally, game 3, we get out the same 6-drop chain, which he manages to get rid of really early with his slug. The game goes decently long, it's a lot of back and forth. However, I'm able to close out the game with the 5-drop Majestic Baby, negating his leaguer ability, dropping him to a 5k, meaning he has to give away his entire hand until I eventually closed out. End of round 1, we are 1-0. So going into round 2, we end up playing Mike, and he's going in this with Clash Coup. I'm not too worried about Clash Coup. Generally, we're able to kill him off before they get any real plays off. The thing with Baby is that he makes it really difficult if you're a 4 energy plus type of deck, because the kill turn comes in so early, and even if not, you end up generating so much value that it's tough for them to combat it. Red has a lot of great options right now in the meta to be able to stop what a lot of people are doing. So we lose the die roll and end up going second. Opening up, we have the 5-drop Baby, SS4, Time Magic, Pan, the 7-drop Great Ape, and Nimbus. Here, I opt to just keep my baby pieces. Nimbus we won't really need because the deck doesn't go off early. I'm looking to draw into Pan and SS4, and we're really just trying to find our Dr. Muse and hopefully a couple of Whis so that our charges can be easy going into the next place. On the mull, we end up drawing into 2 Pans, a Whis, and a Dr. Mew. So not perfect, but because we have the Whis, because we have Dr. Mew, we're able to actually Graceful Charity and clean up our hand to find the remaining pieces of our combo. From there, we're able to just get our turn 3 combo off, neg him a bunch with the 7-drop, and then go into SS4 and close him out. Game 2, our opening hand, we open up 2 Whis, a Pan, a Super Baby, a Bardock, and a Time Magic. Here I keep Baby as well as Whis. I don't want to keep the second one just because I really want to make sure I draw into a Dr. Mew or more parts of my pieces. The one will be sufficient for now, and hopefully I draw into more later. And on the mull, I end up drawing back into Nimbus, Champa, Blood's Wave Generator, and the 4-drop Baby. Meaning that our combo up to the 5-drop's live, now we just need to dig for the remainder of the pieces. Drawing into another 4-drop, we just opt to charge that because we're going to need it for the babies that we have in hand. Mike goes forward to play his Krillins and try and get in some early aggro to stop me from being able to do what I want to do. Not seeing the cards he needs to. On turn 2, I end up going for the Dr. Mew play that I just drew, go into Evil Origins, draw into a bunch of cards, and essentially go in for my combo on turn 3 to close out the game. So after the end of round 2, we are 2-0 going into the finals, hopefully to lock out that first round bye for regionals. Finally, round 3, we're up against Red Yellow Beerus, and I hate going up against this deck. Yes, we can aggro him out early and really push him to have awkward plays, but the fact is that if Beerus gets to go long without being punished with early aggro, their cards really answer a lot of our cards well. They got Topos, they have Beeruses, which kill basically everything that we have, and it really doesn't make it easy for us. The pilot's my boy Tev. He actually joined the game at the same time I did. Right when Tournament of Power came out is when we joined into the game, and he's been my companion on this competitive journey ever since. Here we open up all our baby pieces. We have the 4-drop, the 5-drop, and the 7-drop. We have 2 Evil Origins and SS4. Here I just opt to keep all my baby pieces. We want to see if we can find ourselves a Dr. Mew and Whis. At this point, it's really just anything that's going to make getting to that combo where we need it to be. On the mull, we end up getting a Topo, a 6-drop Baby, and a Dr. Mew. Not the greatest. We really would have wanted another multicolor card to be able to go into Mew right away on turn 1. The draw not really helping out in that manner. We end up having to charge our 7-drop Ape because we really want to be able to get that much cleaner hand thanks to the Graceful Charity play. So we go into Dr. Mew, we go into Baby, and then from there it's just back and forth to try and see if I can get off my combo at an early enough time to kill him and punish him. Seeing the opportunity to aggro him and make his life much more difficult, I end up just deciding to go into the 6-drop Baby and pushing the aggro through that. He ends up committing a bunch of cards to try and get rid of it. He goes into SS4. His deck runs the Super Saiyan 3 into the Great Ape Chain. So using that, he kills off my 6-drop Baby, and we just go back and forth, me trying to defend off his play, trying to find my combo pieces again to see if I can go and push in. Eventually the game goes long enough that I end up finding a second copy of the chain going into the 7-drop this time. He opts to crit himself, at which point I am negging myself to go into the SS4. From there I get to draw a bunch of cards, and he tries to negate. However, this is where the cooler comes in, and I'm able to bad ring his play and combo my hand, effectively killing him off. Game 2, I opt to keep a Dr. Mew and a 5-drop Baby, hopefully finding some multicolors that we can go into. and I end up drawing into more Dr. Mews, an Evil Origins, and a 4-drop baby, and a 6-drop. So essentially we have our entire chain in our hand. Once again, the 6-drop chain, which is good because we really want to aggro Beerus as early as we can to try and make his life awkward. That said, it's not able to get there. He ends up board controlling me to the point where I don't really have all that many plays left. My hand wasn't strong enough to try and pull through after the grind, and he ends up taking game 2. So now we're going off into game 3. My opening hand has a multicolor and a Dr. Mew, which I'm now using to get the Baby Little Origins and get the rest of the combo through. I go into the 4-drop, and on his turn, he manages to go into the extra card that pops, the red-yellow one that ends up popping barrier cards, his tech to help himself awaken because he wants to aggro me early, as well as getting me off my combo. That's not great. That makes it really tough for me. It also allows him to play his Super Saiyan 3 Goku for free because he negged a card, so he's really trying to push me in. Luckily for me, I had another 4-drop to be able to go into, so we go into the 4-drop now, comboing away a super combo for no value, unfortunately, and a 5-drop because it turns out I had 2 in hand, and we go into the 7-drop. From there, we're able to Dr. Mew again, which allows us to clean up our hand. We're able to see more cards that we want to. Him holding out his Awaken means that I know there's a good chance that my ape could just die to a Beerus, and at that point I'd rather have the offering see more cards or crit his life and then try and go for game. So we swing in with SS4. Turns out he doesn't have the Beerus, so he takes the 3 damage, and from there we leader swing. He pitches for the Nimbus. Luckily for us, that only affects battle cards, which he did not know, so we managed to swing in with the leader one more time. This also saving us from being destroyed by Beerus, because obviously Beerus can't stop the leader swing. And we just combo out an entire hand and close out the store championship. So yeah, in the end we managed to win the store championship, going 3-0 and securing ourselves a first round bye to regionals. Shout out to all the players though at Carta Magica. Love my local scene. The guys out there grinding every week, and as much as I aspire to make worlds, I know that that's their aspirations too, and I couldn't be the player I am today without them. So thanks for joining me on episode 1 of Snake Way, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Ciao.